There's a special kind of pride that you feel deep down inside, a strength that seems to thrive in Lima, Allen County.
The American way of life, to get in gear and do what's right.
An unbreakable forthright link called real American strength. Lima, Allen County, real American strength.
Keeping you up to date with what's happening in your community. Community Focus on GTV2. Thanks for joining us today on Community Focus. I'm Ann Decker. It's the holiday season, a time to be happy and joyous, but it is also a time when a lot of people are robbed or encounter theft in their lives. Here in the studio today are Lima Police Department's crime prevention specialists, Diane Fowler and Leanne Shade, and we're talking about how to be safe during the holidays. Diane, what should we be aware of, first of all, in our homes?
In our homes, everybody loves to show off the Christmas tree.
Well, sure.
Well, if you've got big ticket items like big screen TVs, those kind of things, you should have it stuffed behind the tree, so if someone traveling down the road, a robber is opportunist. He can look through the window, he knows what that big package is. This way, you're not inviting him into your home.
Okay.
So if you do that, and after Christmas, your big ticket items, your stereos, those kind of things, break the boxes down. Don't just throw them out to the garbage man advertising, hey, I got a 70-inch screen TV. Come on in and get it. That's what you're doing if you just leave it set like that.
Good advice.
So you want to break it down, put it in a garbage bag. That way you're not inviting. Mm-hmm. The other thing is, especially for the elderly, if they're traveling away, because they may go to visit, family out of town, have them ask a neighbor to get their mail, to get their newspaper. If it snows, maybe shovel their walk. So this way someone thinks someone is home there. Or ask the neighbor to park his car in your driveway.
Good idea.
So that way they think someone is there. Have your Christmas lights on a timer. So they come on at 6 o'clock, go off at 10. That's, with the elderly, that's usually the time they're awake, they go to bed. This limits their chances of getting broke into because they've covered it with a neighbor. The other thing is, we were talking at work, traveling by vehicle, especially with the elderly, and if you have young children, give someone your itinerary, where you're going, what time you may get there. If you don't receive a phone call from that person, call and check. Keep a half a tank of gas in your car. If you do have to stop to get gas at night, do it in a heavily trafficked gas station. So that's less chances of being robbed. If you don't know the route, stick to the main highways. It's just a little safer for you.
Leanne, I would think that not advertising your purchases also is the same when you're at the shopping mall, too. You don't want to be putting the great big TV in the back seat of your car.
Absolutely. When you get to a parking area, it's good to try to park in a well-lit area. If you are able to carry a sound device, a small flashlight, I think they're both good tools. Most of us have a panic button on our remotes. When you come to your car, it's good to just check it over real quick. Peek in the cargo area, the back seat, make sure everything looks okay. Conceal your gifts in a trunk. If you don't have a trunk, at least try to cover them up so people don't know what it is that are in your packages. As you get in your car, get in quickly, lock the door immediately, and take a quick second check of the car. Make sure everything is safe inside. If you are waiting on someone, remember to try to put your back against a wall. At any rate, make sure that you can see in all directions, and if someone does approach you, make sure that you make eye contact with them. That lets them know that you are alert, and it also lets them know that you could identify them if they should try to attack you or do something to you. A really big thing is, I see people all the time carrying cell phones and talking on the cell phones as they're going to cars. You may feel you are alert, but to the attacker, you look weak and unsuspecting. That's the last way that you want to look. The other thing is that a cell phone itself can become the target, and thieves know that they can sell them quickly. So it's best to have your cell phone with you, but keep it concealed. Keep it in your pocket to where you can get to it quickly, but someone else can't take it from you, make you the victim. The other thing is that I think it's a good idea to look online for personal safety issues. And I found some good apps on smartphones, if you own a smartphone, that you might be interested in. Some of them even have a 30-day free trial period. There are certain phones with certain apps that you can set the phone that when you go away, you can set it and you pre-program in your family and your friends. And if you do not arrive where you're supposed to be or back home when you're supposed to be home, then it alerts your friends or your family by a text or an email.
No kidding.
Yeah.
What a great service.
It is. It is. It's very exciting. I just installed one on my phone and I'm just trying it out. But the good thing is you don't need to let someone know that you feel vulnerable. When you get home, you turn it off. But if you do not arrive where you're supposed to be, then when it sends those alerts, then it also sends a GPS location of where you were supposed to have been, only to the people that you have pre-programmed in. There are also, and then they can check with you and just see if you have forgotten to turn it off. And if not, if they can't get a hold of you, then they can go accordingly. The other thing is that some phones do have Find My Phone, but that can also be used to find the person finding the phone. So I would check with your cell phone carrier, see what's available, or like I said, just check on the internet and see. You can check and see what your phone has and then call your carrier accordingly. If you don't have a cell phone, there's still a lot of good information out there for personal safety.
Okay. What about party safety? This is the season for parties. I'm personally going to 4 this week. I mean, there are rules for being safe at parties other than, don't get drunk and drive home, obviously.
There's also some families involved in the spirits on the holidays. The little ones like that fruit punch too, and so do the elderly.
So does my dog, for that matter.
And same way with eggnog. We suggest that you call a sister, say, hey, we're going to have spirits. Can you bring an extra blender so you can make the virgin for the elderly and the young, so they still feel part of the festives, And another thing with the elderly, medications. The alcohol may intensify the effect. You may not know what grandma's taking or grandpa's taking. So the virgin is the other alternative. And everybody can join in the festival and have a good time, and you're safe.
Okay. Anything else we need to know this time of year? Ladies, if people want more information, where do you suggest they get it? Or can they call you?
Absolutely.
They can call, and the websites have all kinds. Just plug in holiday safety.
All right.
Do you want our phone numbers?
Please.
Mine is 419-221-5138, and Diane's is
419-221-5110.
All right. We appreciate you coming in today, and happy holidays.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Diane Fowler and Leanne Shade from the Lima Police Department. We'll get a Chamber of Commerce update when we come back, right after this on GTV2.
We're not doing well, Allen County. Almost 70% of our adults are overweight.
And close to 40% of our children.
We eat the wrong foods.
We smoke too much.
We don't exercise nearly enough.
We can do better.
We can do better.
We can do better.
Activate Allen County is working with schools, churches, businesses, and local government to influence policies that will help us all do better.
We can do better. For me.
For all of us.
Join the effort to help Allen County do better by going to activateallencounty.com. Paid for with funding through a grant from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Lima City Council has recently amended the city's vicious dog ordinance to deal with potential problems concerning dangerous dogs in the public.
The ordinance is comprehensive. However, here are some key elements that all dog owners and their neighbors should be aware of.
Any dog that is considered a breed of pit bull is considered a vicious dog regardless of its temperament.
A vicious dog is any dog that attacks, bites, or causes injury to a person or domestic animal with or without provocation.
not under control of the owner, and secured with a muzzle and a leash of 6 feet or less in length. All vicious dogs must be confined when outside in a pen with a secured top and bottom, or with the sides of the pen embedded at least 1 foot deep into the ground.
If you're a dog owner and have concerns about any dogs in your neighborhood, visit limapolicedepartment.com to find out more about the city's vicious dog ordinance.
The fine for non-compliance is $150 per citation, and ignorance of the law is not a defense.
If there's an emergency situation, call local law enforcement for immediate assistance.
Reduce, recycle, reuse. Allied Waste Services and the City of Lima encourage you to live green by recycling all that you can. Recycling promotes green living by reducing the amount of waste materials buried in landfills. This saves money, natural resources, and energy. Keep our environment healthy and start recycling today. Allied Waste Services is committed to a clean environment. Contact us today for your recycling needs. Visit our website, republicservicesohio.com, to learn more about recycling today.
Welcome back to Community Focus. I'm Ann Decker, and Jacqueline Beckner is in the studio with us today. She is with the Lima-Allen County Chamber of Commerce, and we're talking the Lima YP, the Young Professionals, which has had a busy week, and it looks like they're making some transitions for the future as well.
That's right. We have been trying to wrap up our year, and new this year we decided to host a awards gala. It was a black tie event that we held at the Ohio Theater, so it was really fun, and it was a great program, and we were able to honor some of those young professionals and those young leaders in businesses in our community. So we gave out a community service award, we gave out an emerging YP award. We recognized the top businesses that are influencing our organization, as well as we gave out our first Love Lima Award. And the Love Lima program is a community pride program we started a couple years ago just to kind of help develop good feelings and positivity towards our area. And we were finally able to recognize somebody who's basically lives and breathes Lima. And
it's no secret, it's John Hafey.
That's right.
He's done wonderful things for the community.
That's right, he really has. And actually the Love Lima program kind of started, he wrote a letter to the editor for the Lima News, and he took a tour through Lima and Allen County of what makes our community great. And that's kind of the starting point for our program. Just to take that piece and show everybody in our area what is awesome about Lima and Allen County and what makes our community great. It's not just our businesses, it's not just our resources, it's our people, it's the amount of access to arts and science and technology. So it's such a great demographic and pool of things in our area. So we're excited to do that, but gearing up for next year, we'll still host our black tie, so we've got a couple things coming down the pipeline for award recognition for this upcoming year, but we're working on the Executive YP program.
Which is?
That is more of a leadership development for our young professionals. We're looking really towards the seasoned professional, somebody who has had some work experience, who is working towards maybe a leadership or management role, somebody who might have started their own business and is looking to expand their business. So this way we can help develop some leadership skills, everything from employee management to board service. And part of this EYP program is a mentorship, so we're reaching out to community leaders and business owners to provide about an hour of their day or their month to our young professionals who are participating in the EYP program, just to sit down and chat and talk and work things out and just start to develop that relationship, so that way our YPs can see them as a resource and they can help guide them with their efforts that they're working on. The other part is a quarterly seminar, so we'll be learning about again, everything from human resources to public speaking, or just how to develop yourself professionally to be a leader and to step into that management role. And then we also have community service projects, so we'll be working with the Family Service or Family Promise program, and we'll either be providing resources or volunteers for that program, and our EYPs will be required to meet a volunteer commitment. And then we have board service, so they'll get a little taste of serving on community boards, public boards, civic boards. It could be anything from nonprofit to something within their own industry, but just really starting to take an active role in in their career path. So,
well, and the YP are fun besides. It's a good group.
We are. I have yet to have a good time whenever we all get together, whether it's planning a meeting for these programs or whether it's actually having the program. So it's a great group of people. It's a great networking opportunity to meet. We have about 120 members within our organization strong. So you're guaranteed to make some contacts within the program. The EYP is only open to Lima Young Professionals members, so it's only $90 for a full year of membership, and that covers all your monthly luncheons. It covers the EYP program. We have social development activities in the evenings once a month, as well as some things throughout the summer. We do bus trips and weekend trips. So definitely a program to get involved with.
Who can be involved?
Anybody under the age of 40. So the young professionals, we're trying to reach out to basically any industry, any demographic. We really aren't closed for type of person. We're looking for basically anybody who's looking to better themselves and to make new contacts and really make a difference in their community. So,
how do they sign up?
Just give me a call at the chamber. It's 222-6045, or you can go online at limayp.com and click the join button, and a little membership application will be sent right to me. So definitely check that out. The limayp.com has some information about programs that we've had in the past, as well as upcoming things and how you can get involved. So
great. Well, it's a great program, and I certainly encourage anybody out there to sign up for it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you very much.
Jacqueline Beckner from the Chamber of Commerce. We'll tell you about elder abuse in our community right after this on GTV2.
Let's all do our part to keep the Ottawa River clean and healthy. Clean trash and debris from storm drains to keep them from being washed into the river. Your actions matter.
This is a nice neighborhood. It is. Is that the house we live in, Mom? Yes. Look at all the kids around here, Mom. I like this house.
Hi, we're here about the house.
It's rented.
It's against the law to deny people the opportunity to live where they want and can afford. If you feel that you've been treated unfairly, give LACA a call and we'll look into your complaint. LACA's fair housing services are free, so call today and get the housing you deserve. 419-227-2586.
Help keep the youth of Lima safe by donating to Lima Safety City today. Hello, I'm Chuck Eichelberger from the Lima Noon Optimist Club. Safety City is a very important part of the Lima community. The Optimist Club is renovating Safety City and it needs your help. Donations can be made by going to the website limasafetycity.org. You can also send a donation to Lima Noon Optimist Club, P.O. Box 428, Lima, Ohio 45802. Help keep the youth of Lima safe by donating to Safety City today.
I'm Deborah Norville. If you know a veteran who seems angry or sad or isolated, you may be seeing warning signs of depression or suicide. The VA is ready to help. Call 1-800-273-TALK and press 1.
We're back on Community Focus. I'm Ann Decker. Elder abuse exists, even though we may not hear too much about it or see it too much in the media. Here in the studio today to talk about the prevention of elder abuse is Diane Bishop. She is with the Allen County Council on Aging. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Ann, and good morning.
How prevalent is elder abuse in our community?
I'm afraid it's more prevalent than we realize, and we are able to take care of.
What do you see then from the Council on Aging's viewpoint?
We are obviously very, very concerned about alleged elder abuse in the community. I have been working with Building Partnerships Initiative the last couple of years, a relatively new group. It was facilitated originally by the Board of DD because of abuse of people with disabilities, people with different abilities. And then we have brought in elder abuse issue as well with this group. The group consists of our agency, Council on Aging, and the police department and the sheriff's office and adult protective services, where we are encouraging senior citizens to have the confidence and the reality of, first of all, I am allowed to say no. For instance, when an insistent person calls on the phone and to convince a senior citizen to send money to a cause, please, as the Better Business Bureau as well has always mentioned, please be extremely careful on those. And you're allowed to hang up. Some of us need to be reminded you're allowed to hang up the phone. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to please the other person on the other end of the phone. Just hang up. And that is one part of the elder abuse and exploitation. Another is in a home where a caregiver, and I know caregivers, we know that caregivers become frustrated perhaps and sort of busy all the time with working full time. Caregivers are sometimes frustrated enough to be abusive. Now, that sounds very dramatic. Sometimes it does happen. And we in this group are taking care of and making sure the awareness is in the community, where we would ask the senior citizen to be calling Adult Protective Services, the Lima Police Department, the Sheriff's Office, or the Council on Aging, and asking, what can I do about this? Either a neighbor notices something that perhaps someone isn't being taken care of correctly or properly, and we're not judging any type of caregiving in the community. That's not what we're doing, and that's not what we want to say, but we're paying attention, and we want the senior citizen to be safe in his or her own home. That's the group we're working with now, and we take it very seriously. So we're out here saying to the senior, be confident enough to call Adult Protective Services, call a neighbor, call a friend, or call the Council on Aging, and we will help the senior through the steps it takes. There are several agencies working on this.
So often, though, the caregiver is someone you are close to. It is a friend, it is a relative, it's someone you trust. How do you turn in somebody like that?
Well, therein lies the huge dilemma. And again, we are not in any way mentioning and saying that it is someone's fault exactly. The point is, for sure, if a senior citizen or someone who knows that senior thinks that something is not right, please, 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 please give a call to an agency, to Adult Protective Services or the law, the authorities. And that is the dilemma where the senior citizen perhaps is being cared for and perhaps has no place else to go. We recognize that, and it's a very serious concern. But when we're starting this, we want the caregiver, we want the senior citizen to know that we're paying attention. And we don't have all the answers, but we definitely want the awareness to be out there, to be obvious to residents in the county and in the city of Lima, and all surrounding counties actually. But again, we don't have all the answers. We want persons to know. We work on this as groups of agencies continually. The Regional Office on Aging, the Council on Aging, and this group is called Building Partnerships, and that's where we work with law enforcement, etc., and the court system as well.
Is abuse always obvious?
No, it is not.
It's not just always hitting.
That's true. That's true. We take phone calls. We receive phone calls at Council on Aging, mostly from concerned neighbors. And then we turn that in as an alleged situation with Adult Protective Services, and then the Adult Protective Services follows through.
What kind of things should people be looking for?
When a senior seems to be less comfortable, if a senior doesn't talk as much as he or she used to. Now, there are medical reasons, of course, and medication reasons, of course, for different behaviors. But people who know their neighbors and make sure that the neighbors, that the senior citizen knows, we're here if you need any help. We're here to help you. It's a safer neighborhood overall.
Especially this time of year, check on your neighbor.
Yes.
Stop by and say hi and just make sure things are okay.
And no matter how often you stop by different times of the day if you have time, if you have the availability of visiting, just to stop in so that there is not so much isolation.
And if anybody has questions, concerns, just needs to talk, the Council on Aging is there, and it's a free service.
Oh, absolutely. Our services definitely are free to any senior citizen who is age 60 or older in Allen County. And I know, Ann, that this is seems a very serious subject. Well, we agree totally. It is a very serious subject, and we want to be in and out of the communities, in and out of the arrangements of family situations, so that we're not intruding, but as a support system.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like people to know about elder abuse?
Just the fact that it's here, it happens, and our goal is to prevent as much as possible, to give the senior safety, whether it is still in that home or in a different environment.
Okay. Give us your phone number if people want more assistance.
The Council on Aging phone number is 419-228-5135.
All right. We appreciate you coming in today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Diane Bishop from the Allen County Council on Aging. I'm Ann Decker, and this is Community Focus on GTV2.
I didn't want to be touched. He said it would feel good, but it didn't. So he gave me a new doll and some candy. He told me not to tell anybody and that it's our special secret. How do I make him stop?
Say no. Run away. Scream. It's okay to tell an adult you trust if someone is hurting you or making you uncomfortable. Feel safe. Feel strong. Feel free.
Do you know what to do when you hear the community warning sirens? The sirens are activated anytime the public is in life-threatening danger. This can be from weather emergencies, chemical releases, or other situations. When you hear the sirens, go inside and turn on your radio or television for more information. Follow the instructions carefully and stay inside until the danger has passed. Remember, the sirens mean to go inside and listen to your radio or television for more information. Take the necessary steps to keep you and your family safe.
Some things just naturally go together. Other things don't mix. Please, don't drink and drive.
What is your name, please?
I am Doug Behringer.
I am Doug Behringer.
I'm Doug Behringer.
Remember to tell the truth. Only one person was truthful about their name. For victims of identity theft, it is not a game. They find their credit and reputations ruined. Never give out your personal information to people or businesses you are not familiar with. By the way, I'm the real Doug Behringer. I'm an attorney and the victim of identity theft. Protect yourself. It can happen to anyone.
We're back on Community Focus. I'm Ann Decker, and I'm pleased to welcome to the studio Maha Zehery. She is with Changing Seasons, which is fairly new. I'm sure a lot of people aren't quite sure what it is.
Actually, it's not new, but it's like one of the best kept secrets in town. It has been there for several years, and we are now in the basement of the old YMCA, you know, the annex. But before that, it was on Main Street. In the previous, you know, the restaurant that was burned down,
yes.
The bistro, it was there. So it has been there for a long time. But as I said, it's like one of the best kept secrets in town.
Well, let's stop it being a secret. Tell us what it is.
It's actually a great endeavor. It's an outreach center for homeless and mental health clients. They come spend the day. We have computers, we have TV, ping pong table, pool table, books, puzzles, all kinds of fun things. We offer snacks. We get great snacks from the food bank and coffee. And we try every now and then to wrap some last-minute lunches, and it's really fun, and people need it, especially with the cold weather nowadays.
Well, we have other shelters in town. Why is there a need for changing seasons as well?
Well, the other shelters are, it's like a kind of a night shelter. They can sleep there. But many of these shelters ask them to leave 7 o'clock in the morning and come back in the evening. So they have nothing to do by day. And that's where we fill in the spot.
Is it just a place to hang out, or do they do anything constructive while they're there?
Well, we try to do constructive things as much as we can. And the sky is the limit. So one day we'll get an artist who can do some fun arts with them, musician. We also have classes for them, different kind of classes, self-esteem, anger management, all that kind of classes. We also try to have like inspiration talks in the morning, and people can say whatever they feel like saying. I also started something that they really like, tea with Maha, and we pull a name every day, and we sit one-on-one in our back quiet room, and we talk at whatever they would choose to talk about. It's really a great endeavor, and I have been reading and researching that centers as such lowers the crime rate, especially food theft. How homeless are in the morning, it's cold and they're hungry, and sometimes they just have to go and grab something to eat it, So we have all that for them.
How many clients do you serve?
Usually at least 50 to 60 people a day.
You are kidding.
Yes.
That's a bunch.
And then Thursdays we have bingo day, so that increases maybe 80 to 100.
That's a big crowd.
And when we're really low, it's like we're having 25 people. That's very low. And it's usually at the beginning of the month when some of them go and cash their checks or SSI or whatever, So that's a couple of days at the beginning of the month is our lowest. And we have some, every now and then, we took them once to Delphus, to the Temple of Tolerance. This week we're taking them to Bluffton to see the lights, and we'll have the Christmas party in a church there. So we're always having fun and enjoyable very much. Mind draining, but very enjoyable.
Where do you get your funding?
It's a nonprofit, and we are through Coleman. And Coleman is services for all mental health, all kinds of services. All kinds of nations, even volunteers with their time, coming in and talking to other people. Lately, we have a wish list, by the way, and if people are interested, they can come and see me. And the other day, somebody came and asked, and I said, you know what? We need some space heaters, not for the center, but for our clients. And lo and behold, this lady came back with 15 ones.
That's wonderful.
And we just pulled name and gave it to people, and you can't imagine how happy they were this time. So donations, and again, the sky is the limit with the donations. People can give us money, can give us supplies. We use coffee and sugar. We run out of these right away, creamer, and then their time would be great.
What kind of things can people do for you?
Well, they can always come and talk to the people. These people need somebody to talk to. We play games, Scrabble. I'm very good at Scrabble, and they hate it because I always beat them. And, different games, they can sit and talk to them one-on-one. They can help. We need always maintenance, cleaning every day. I mean, really, the sky is the limit with the type of help, but it depends on people's time and what they would like to do. We get also some students from Rhodes College and Bluffton University, and either they have classes for them or they just come and mingle with them. We also get community service people, and we love them because they really like to come and work and help us clean. And we had a storage room that was not the best organized. I had them and we organized it, and it's great. So we, as I said, anything we will grab it, and we'll be very thankful.
We're certainly doing wonderful work at Changing Seasons. Is there anything else you'd like people to know about it?
Well, as I said, and what I would like to clarify is that stereotyping. Homeless, is a dangerous guy and a filthy guy, and it's not. They are so smart, and like in every community, there's the good and the bad, But we never had any problem. They're all very courteous, very polite, very appreciative of what we're doing. And many of them, I mean, they impress me. I'm originally from Egypt. I had this guy getting, and he said, I have 2 CDs for you. And the first one was Walk Like an Egyptian. And then the second was an Egyptian very favorable song. So he went to Googled and he got, that song. So, I mean, honestly, there are a bunch of wonderful, smart people. It taught me a lot.
Well, I've been to Changing Seasons myself, and it is a fun environment, and they are good people. Absolutely. They're victims of circumstances.
Exactly.
And you're there to help them back.
Exactly. Victim of circumstances, victim of bad choices sometimes. And you've seen it. It's clean, and although it's in a basement, it's not dingy. It's white and lighted, and a big space too.
If people want to help out, do they just give you a call?
Yes, please.
And your number?
419-230-0440. That's my cell.
All right. Well, good luck with it. You are really doing wonderful work.
Thank you. I need that luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming in. Maha, Zehery from Changing Seasons. I'm Ann Decker, and this is Community Focus on GTV2.
Welcome to the City of Lima Department of Community Development. I'm Amy Odom, Director of Community Development. Within this department, 6 different programs operate to improve community and economic quality of life for all Lima citizens. Housing programs provide first-time homeowner training and down payment assistance and offers low-interest loans and emergency repair grants for qualified homeowners. Planning Services accepts requests for lot splits, alley vacations, rezoning, and zoning variances. Planning also coordinates strategic land use efforts for business and neighborhood development. Acquisition and resale of tax delinquent properties for commercial and residential use are coordinated through the Lima Land Bank program. Economic development activities also include oversight of state and federal grants, administration of tax abatement programs, and a variety of business retention and attraction efforts. Neighborhood support offers capacity building training and organizational resources to the 13 existing neighborhood associations within Lima and encourages the development of neighborhood partnerships between the city, citizens, businesses, and other service providers. Property Maintenance Code Enforcement enforces city ordinances on the maintenance of existing structures by inspection and citation for violations. Dealing with weeds, trash, and structural issues, over 4,000 inspections are made each year by city inspectors.
We're not doing well in Allen County. Almost 70% of our adults are overweight.
And close to 40% of our children.
We eat the wrong foods.
We smoke too much. We don't exercise nearly enough.
We can do better.
We can do better.
We can do better.
Activate Allen County is working with schools, churches, businesses, and local government to influence policies that will help us all do better.
We can do better. For me.
For all of us.
Join the effort to help Allen County do better by going to activateallencounty.com. Paid for with funding through a grant from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Thanks, Jason. Good morning. It's 8:07 News Talk 1150 WIMA. I'm Mike Miller. Tuesday morning this time means we talk with representatives of the city of Lima and your phone calls, questions or comments, things related to our guest, the police chief of the city of Lima, Kevin Martin is in studio. Chief Martin, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mike.
224-1150, by the way, is our phone number. Again, 224-1150. Chief, cold weather, part of the scene now, Chief Martin. And of course, I would guess to some degree cold weather is not a bad thing for law enforcement because the so-called misbehaviors aren't as inclined to be stomping around outside. It's too darn cold, right?
The cold absolutely helps us. A lot of our criminals, thankfully, are fair weather criminals, so when the temperature drops like it has, just not as many people out, not causing as much trouble, and it does keep things calmer for us. Now, the downside is that we also then, with the snow and the ice, will often see an increase in the number of traffic crashes.
Yeah.
So we certainly do want to caution people to make sure that they give themselves extra time. Make sure you have enough time to clean your car off in the morning before you leave. Get all the windows cleaned off so you have proper visibility. Give yourself a little extra time to get to where you have to go because even when the salt trucks are out and the snow plows are moving snow, there can still be icy spots at intersections and just dangerous hazards on the roadway if you don't give yourself that extra time so you can drive a little slower.
And it was noteworthy yesterday, obviously, with the coating of snow over top of the very cold roadways, hence a whole raft of school closings ultimately yesterday. And it's those kind of conditions really you're talking about that very quickly it can deteriorate, right?
That's right. And again, even when the roads may look perfectly clear, there is still the phenomenon of black ice.
Yeah.
And if you're going too fast and suddenly you find yourself on a spot of ice and you need to stop, it's not going to happen. Or you could find your car skidding out of control. And so, again, we just caution people and ask them to take a little extra time to get where they need to go. Drive a little slower.
What is the process if I'm in a fender bender? And I've had my issues like anybody else. I mean, I'm in one here a couple of years ago, and I thought it was barely paint scratch that you could rub out with a wet cloth, quite frankly. And I obviously blew it. I left the scene. I didn't think it was a factor at all, and it turned out to be a factor. And that's, I think, what leaves people a little bit concerned. Sometimes they get in quote-unquote fender benders, and it's barely a paint scratch at best, but it might be really inconvenient or a bad time for Lima police to be on the scene. How should we play any of that?
Well, if you have been involved in a traffic crash of any kind, my recommendation is call the police. Even if you don't think that there's any damage,
right.
It's still a good idea to call the police. Now, if it's on private property, then just make sure that you exchange insurance information with the person who owns the other vehicle.
Right.
But again, if you're on the street or the roadway, call the police. That's just the best way to make sure that everything's okay. And
all right, so there's the distinction. If, let's say, it happens in a plaza, in a parking lot of a plaza, that sort of thing, that would be considered private property, right?
That is correct. And I will also add to that, though, I guess, if even there, if you're not sure whether the insurance exchange can be done peacefully, if
right.
perhaps the other person's angry or some of that nature, still then call the police and we can make sure that insurance exchange occurs without any problems. Also, if even on private property, if the driver is drunk or if they do not have insurance or if somebody's injured, then the police will still make a police report.
All right. Also, the dilemma of an incident, I barely even want to call it an accident. We'll call it an incident that happens between two vehicles on a roadway. Should the people just maintain their positions as it occurred, even though by maintaining their positions as it occurs results in instantaneous backups and a brewing awful traffic situation, or get the vehicles off the street onto the adjacent plaza or something of that nature? How should they play that?
Well, if it's a minor accident and you're able to get the cars moved out of the way so that it opens up traffic flow and helps to avoid causing another accident, there's no problem with that. The one thing I would suggest, though, is that in this day of cell phones with cameras on them, snap a few photographs before the cars are moved.
Right.
And again, that does help to establish a little bit better as to what happened in case people's stories change later.
All right. So it can be a little bit confusing, can it?
Oh, it certainly can be, and for the officers trying to sort through the evidence and the witness statements, et cetera, at a crash scene, it makes it very difficult for the officer to sometimes be able to figure out exactly what did happen. And so, the officers do the best that they can, but like I said, those photographs, for instance, with cell phone camera, can sometimes help.
Mm-hmm. How? Let's say we're also in a fender bender or an accident situation. How do we know what jurisdiction we're in?
If you call the police department and it's outside the city, then we will make sure that the information gets transferred to the appropriate agency,
right.
And vice versa. Now, in this day of cell phones, if somebody calls 911, the cell phone 911 call automatically goes to the sheriff's department, and the sheriff's department's dispatch then will make sure that the call gets relayed to the appropriate jurisdiction.
Depending upon where you're frankly standing at that moment, it'll notify the 911 what your jurisdiction is, or if you tell them where you're at, they should know.
Well, they'll still want to know from you where you're at.
Right.
But actually the 911 technology today does have capability, even with cell phones, to help pinpoint where the person is. So if the person's not able to give their address, it does give the police department a fairly good location as to where to begin looking.
Do you notice this time of year with plazas and shopping entities, even downtown, a lot busier, that there is a bit of an increase in little fender benders?
Well, I've never actually broken down the numbers or looked at them to tell you. I guess anecdotally it does seem like there do tend to be more crashes. Again, I think part of it's the weather, and I do think part of it is the increase in traffic of people out shopping and being about for the holiday festivities.
Mm-hmm.
And so, anecdotally I can say that it certainly does seem that there's an increase, but I've never actually broken down the numbers to look at them.
More about vehicles this busy time, also downtown Lima. And Coffee with a Cop is just around the corner, including your calls at 224-1150 for Lima City Police Chief Kevin Martin. All ahead. It's 8:15. It's 8:19, News Talk 1150 WIMA. Hey, in studio this morning with Lima City Police Chief Kevin Martin. All is well with the city chief. No calls this morning, 224-1150. Phone lines are open. People are comfortable and happy with the job you guys are doing, right?
Well, I would like to think that's the case, but I'm really not so sure it is. And I guess that does bring up a good point, though, Mike, and that is that we really do need people to call us and let us know what's going on in their neighborhoods. Let us know if if they're not satisfied with the service they receive from the police department. And we need to have communication from the public. It shouldn't just be the police department telling the city what we want them to hear. We need to be hearing from them as well.
All right, no question about it. Try not to be in a you'd rather not be in a reactive mode as much as you'd rather be in a proactive mode. Right?
That is exactly right.
Yeah. Speaking of proactive, the Coffee with the Cop designation event is coming back, and it's coming back soon, right?
Yes, actually, we'll be having the next one this Saturday at the Cable Road McDonald's from 10 until noon.
All right, and that's really a get acquainted sort of an event with representatives from the city and county?
Yes, actually the sheriff and I will both be there, and we're actually maybe hoping to expand it going into next year to involve some of the other law enforcement agencies in the area as well.
Okay.
And we have not been able to have those discussions yet with the other law enforcement agencies, but that's something we'd like to do because it's been very successful for us. We've gotten some good turnouts and, again, good feedback from the community.
What time you fellas going to be there Saturday?
Well, again, it's from 10 until noon, and it is at the Cable Road McDonald's, which we picked that for this time of year on purpose, hoping that way as people are out and about shopping, they can stop in, have a free cup of coffee, and get to tell us what's on their mind or ask whatever questions may be on their mind.
Now, technically, that's on the west side of Cable Road. Is that no longer in the city?
No, actually, that is still in the city.
Really? Okay.
But again, it's just sometimes, though, even people outside the city may have things that they think the police department needs to hear.
Right.
And so we would like to hear those because even if somebody lives outside the city, they may work in the city, or if they travel in the city, we need to know what they believe we should be doing to serve them.
Absolutely. All right, that should be interesting. That's at 10 to noon on Saturday, Cable Road McDonald's location. Speaking of busy, it's obviously very busy, and this past weekend in downtown Lima, it was busy all the time with events at the Civic Center and other locations. This is part of the downtown festival. How is it that the city approaches a busier downtown, Chief Martin? I understand it's cold, it's that sort of thing. Are there occasionally police officers on the walking beat downtown?
We do have officers, or we instruct our officers to get out of their cars, not just downtown, but in other areas as well.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of the cars and walk, or get when the weather permits, to ride their bicycles. We have a number of bike trained officers. And again, we really encourage that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But we have also worked with downtown Lima in developing basically a contingency that if they're having events downtown where they're expecting very large crowds, that they will notify us, and we have specific things that we will do in terms of providing extra patrol, providing extra coverage downtown, and making sure that people are aware that we have a presence down there during those events.
Yeah, it seems like, though, even for the larger events like this past weekend with the ONU Spectacular that went on at the Civic Center, big crowds, virtually every show, 1,500 people or more, that sort of a thing for 3 consecutive days. When each and every show goes on, you guys are obviously aware of it for all the pedestrian traffic and that sort of thing, right?
Yes, indeed. And the Civic Center staff make sure that they send us notifications of all of the events that they have going on. And so we also then make sure that the shift officers are aware of that. And even if it's not a matter of putting an officer right there, because oftentimes we don't have the luxury of being able to do that, but we do still make sure that the officers know, so that with that being in such close proximity to our station, at different points of the night, all the officers have to come in on station to turn in paperwork or to take care of other duties. And so as they're coming in, leaving again, we make sure that they know to be providing an extra patrol downtown.
Even though it enhances your challenges with the police department, admittedly, it's a pretty cool deal. With the comeback of downtown here in recent months and years, isn't it?
Oh, those are the kind of challenges we want to see.
Yeah.
And I think that the downtown area of our city is really coming back. Downtown Lima deserves a lot of credit, as well as the Chamber of Commerce, many different members of the mayor's staff, others that have just worked very hard at trying to bring some vitalization back to the downtown, and I'm happy to see it.
No question about it. Another thing we see a lot of this time of year is obviously folks with the temptation, naughty, with the temptation to shoplift and things like that, trying to get a fast one over on department stores. There is sort of a rise with that, isn't there?
With the increase in crowds in the department stores and other shopping areas, yes, there's an increase in shoplifting. And so, again, if people see something like that, they should report it to a store person.
But even as an individual, should you commit such an act, there's some real jeopardy to that, isn't there, when you get caught?
Well, even if it's a 50-cent item, that is still a first-degree misdemeanor, which means that the person can get up to 6 months in jail and a $1,000 fine plus court cost. And so, it is something that's taken very seriously. It's not something that the stores are going to just look past or pretend didn't happen. If you get caught, you can't just say, "Oh, I've got the money, I'll pay for it."
No.
The stores will file charges, and we will send an officer out, or the appropriate jurisdiction, wherever the store may be, will send an officer out, and the person will be arrested.
And unfortunately, this time you see some of that, right?
Yes, we do, and again, it is very unfortunate, especially with so many of the programs out there to help the unfortunate at this time of year. There really is no excuse for it.
Yep, and obviously the consequences make the thrill of that way bad idea, certainly, as we've long ago found. Still about 4 minutes left with Chief Martin this morning. This time goes so fast. If you have a call or a question, hustle up, give it to us here at 224-1150. And Chief, certainly staying with the theme of shoppers and all of that, how often don't we talk about you have packages, that sort of thing. Trunks are a lot better than open seats. Huh?
Yes, they are. But now a lot of cars do not have trunks in them, and so what we recommend there, if you have a car that does not have a trunk, at least do your absolute best to hide the packages so that they're out of sight. Also, don't leave purses laying on the front seat of cars. If you're just going to run into a store rather quickly and back out, some people will grab their money out of their purse and run in and leave the purse on the seat. That really is
Open invitation.
Oh, yeah, it's an open invitation for somebody to, even if you lock the car door, to smash the window, grab the purse, and run.
Mm-hmm.
So we really recommend that you carry purses in with you. Don't leave other valuables out in plain sight.
All those busy parking lots, it is sort of a different time of the year for that, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And one other thing that we see an increase in this time of year, too, with all of the festivities and the office parties and other parties that people attend for the holidays, is we do see an increase in drunk driving. And, again, our recommendation there is just get a designated driver or take a taxi. A taxi is going to be a lot cheaper than a DUI arrest.
Oh, not even close. I mean, way dramatic. And that, I guess that would be the other thing for folks with that. I mean, we all want to have a good time at the office party or whatever the case may be. But for those who haven't faced the music, even first-time DUI is like a 6 months license suspension, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it is. And in addition to the license suspension, there are fines, there's court costs, there's attorney fees, and the bills just keep racking up.
Yeah.
And it's not something that I would wish on anyone. But at the same time, we cannot allow people to get out there and drive drunk because of the danger that they pose to the rest of the people out there.
Yeah, it becomes almost nightmarish, quite frankly, and you may well be generally a law-abiding, solid citizen, but you crawled through a stop sign or you swerved ever so slightly and became enough of a notification visually that law enforcement pulled you over, and the rest becomes history, and it might not be a pretty history, right?
Right, or even worse than the crawling through the stop sign. If you run the stop sign and collide with somebody else and somebody else gets hurt or even killed.
All right, well, there's the potential for all that, and that's really what your message is for alcohol, that sort of thing, and then spinning it into driving, and narcotics also, right?
That's absolutely right.
Yeah.
So, again, I'm not saying that people shouldn't have a good time at their office parties or that, but just, again, have a designated driver or take a taxi.
Yep, no question about it. In fact, had a personal testimony from somebody who recently did that. They took a taxi. They were absolutely intoxicated by every respect. They took a taxi, first time they had ever done it, and little do they realize the taxi came up upon a what do you call the roadway check?
Oh, yes, the
sobriety checkpoints
sobriety
or whatever, and like, whoa, they would have been in huge, big trouble. And the cab ride was like $24 or something. So $24 or $2,400.
And that's the comparison, yeah.
Chief, as always, we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule and a busy time of the year with the holidays and the weather and all the rest. Good luck to you and your team here in the next few weeks.
Well, it was my pleasure, Mike, and have a very Merry Christmas.
We're not doing well, Allen County. Almost 70% of our adults are overweight.
And close to 40% of our children.
We eat the wrong foods.
We smoke too much. We don't exercise nearly enough.
We can do better.
We can do better.
We can do better.
Activate Allen County is working with schools, churches, businesses, and local government to influence policies that will help us all do better.
We can do better for me.
For me. For all of us.
Join the effort to help Allen County do better by going to activateallencounty.com. Paid for with funding through a grant from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.